once again another edition of Inside the Headset as we approach Week 5, Game 5, quickly on the horizon. I'm on the campus of Oakland High School. I've got with me the head coach of the Oakland Patriots, head coach Kevin Creasy. How you doing today, Coach?
Doing good, Stuart.
Well, last Friday night you got into one for Game 4. That was right here at Ray Hughes Stadium. Took on Pearl Cone, and always a good tradition to see Pearl Cone. They do pass the eye test, but was able to come away with a victory. But still, yet it's a chance. It's a chance to compete, a chance to put on the uniform, and a chance to work out the Oakland Patriots.
Yeah, we were glad to be back home. You know, had a good crowd, and Pearl Cone, brings in 0-3 record at the time, but has one of the toughest schedules in the whole state. They barely lost to CPA, barely lost to NBA. Had BGA right before they played us. So, tough schedule, but a really good team. I think they do a good job over there. I think they're well coached, and they got good players. And we just, right around the end of the first quarter, start of the second quarter, we got some momentum rolling, and that momentum. It's kind of a funny thing, but it was good for us, and we got a lot of points scored in just a short amount of time. Didn't have a real big first quarter, but second quarter things got going in the right direction, and some really good things happened.
Great segue. When we talk about when you do get the lead, or you do have an opportunity to work other guys into the game, and the game's moving along, what happens, Coach. You're not in charge of the clock. You're not in charge of a lot of different variables and levers that are happening. What you're trying to do is get certain guys on the field, in the position, like you were hired to do, to put them in the best possible position so they can perform and be better football players.
Yeah, we got a pretty good lead at halftime. I was surprised at how well our guys were playing, and got the clock rolling. And to their credit, they kept fighting. They put one in the end zone. We've been unscored on about 10 quarters in a row, and we were trying to keep them out, and shoot, they went right down the field and scored on us right there at the end. So, at the end of the day, I think that little second quarter momentum shift kind of played to our favor. They got a late hit on our quarterback on a touchdown pass, and we ended up taking the penalty on the kickoff, kicked an onside kick, one of those surprise onside kicks, and recovered that. So that one play turned into 14 points, and so we were able to take advantage of a couple of their mistakes, and the penalty being a big one. And after that, it was kind of, determined we were going to win the ball game. We just couldn't find a way. We made sure that we didn't screw it up.
Well, and another thing is you tell kids all along, sometime during the season, a lot of people haven't been fortunate enough to listen to you coach kids with the camera not on you, but you've told kids before, your play, we're working on this play, and I may not call it this game, and I may not call it the next game, but between now and game 10, there's going to be a moment in time, and I'll know that moment in time. But when I call it, you're going to be given the opportunity, and you're going to be able to score a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And how many times have you played that out in your brain? But to be a coach and to be doing what you're doing, that the success is right behind us. You got to know what you're doing and really be able to put that kid in that right position.
Yeah, and hopefully they're going and they're visualizing that play, and they're knowing the situation. And, I think we put a 15-year-old kicker out there that probably was wondering why in the world we were kicking an onside kick. I had no idea that even if we didn't recover it, they would get it on the 35, stuff like that, maybe 25, who knows. But we successfully did a little kick that we'd practiced several times with him because he's so good at it. And then also, you talk about plays that, we practiced over and over in the left hash. Right there on the left hash, we got our H-back trading over, and, just told him, like, look, when you trade over, we're only going to call this on the left hash. But you got to know that when you run your vertical, you got to end up back toward the hash. And so our quarterback, not very tall, at the end of the day, he couldn't even really see, but he knew exactly where the guy was supposed to be. And sure enough, connected on him, and it was a big play for us. And like I said, those plays add up, and to run it against a defense like theirs, they've got all kinds of playmakers on their defense. They got two of the best looking linebackers I've seen in my career. I mean, there's a number 11 for them, that he's going to probably go to school and play for free, go to school for free, play ball, may play on Sundays. I mean, they had some dudes. And so for that play to be executed that well by young quarterbacks, and then, a guy like Michael Brown who plays both sides of the ball, he's got a lot to remember on defense. And then he comes over on offense, and he's got a lot to remember as well. So for that to be executed that well, I thought that was a testament to how well those guys practiced this past week.
Onside kick, you don't want to try that on a region game. We need to try that on a non-region game so that we can test and see if we even can, because it will give you the decision of whether or not we need to try that play in a region game. Am I not? I mean, you got to know if you can do it. So
that's right. And like I said, our guy had some nerves and still went out there, and I thought he did a heck of a job of executing. And then, like I said, our first drive, Jose Hernandez, who's coming off an injury, went out there and kicked a 38-yard field goal. So, a good night for the kickers for sure, and had some good punts. And ultimately, we try to win all three phases of the game if we can, and I thought we did a pretty good job of that.
Here we are. We moved to Game 5, Week 5. You're going to head on over to Siegel, the Siegel Stars, and the Siegel Stars. They got a little something going on over there. They gave Stewart's Creek a good little a battle. And then they gave Smyrna a good little battle. And you're headed over to face a team that has had some success, and they're going to be ready to see you. They feel like they're in position. I guarantee feel like that they can give you some competition on Friday night.
Absolutely. Every region game is a battle. I mean, that doesn't matter. In this region, you better be ready to play. We've been over at Siegel. They play really hard. At home, they defend their turf well.
Mm-hmm.
We've been in some halftime conversations where it's close, a one-possession game, or they're winning, or we're tied. And so we know what we're getting into playing Siegel 3 miles down the road. And to their credit, they are 3-1 and beat a good Cookville team too. Cookville was, an opponent that we're familiar with because they played Riverdale in the playoffs last year. So they well-coached team, got some players. And so they've had 3 good wins, and so we know what we're getting into.
Where are you at right now, Coach? Injury-wise and things like that, as far as the growth of the 2025 Patriots, how do you feel? You've had a chance to get the kids out there and run them. I mean, it's in their hands, of course, but they've got a lot of runway, a lot of potential left, and it's in their hands, isn't it?
Yeah, we got, some of our skilled guys are getting some bumps and bruises, but we're pretty deep at that position, so we should be able to plug anybody in if we need to. But like I said, that's a good thing about having some depth. A lot of times last year we were kind of in trouble. We kind of got pigeonholed because of our depth issues.
Mm-hmm.
But we got some depth this year, and so we probably see some new faces around in the next couple of weeks.
That's always good. Get a chance for some new kids. And of course, there was a mention, and I did want to say this. I did say it to. Doesn't ever want to look ahead, but I am going to look a little bit ahead. This past Friday night, I did make my way over to Jonathan's, and I did run into some of the refereeing crew that normally we do see on Friday night. And the word was that next Friday night, we will be altar boys because both teams are on probation. So the referees did send a message very quickly to both squads that I guarantee you both teams, for what everybody might think, oh, this is going to be a great game, both teams will be helping each other up off the ground, and we'll be patting each other on the helmet, and we'll be getting to being good boys next Friday night, no question.
Oh, yeah. That was a deal last year, and at the end of it, 1 or 2 people on both teams could end up costing 100 people on the team. So
yep.
We don't want to be selfish. They don't want to be selfish. At the end of the day, it's a good 48 minutes and maybe longer of a battle, and it's a rivalry game, and that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be real passionate about your play between 2 rivals, but let that happen between the whistles, not after the whistles, and certainly not after the game.
And it's in all games, and I was just talking to Matt not a few minutes ago, and he said the same thing. We want the kids to settle it, not the media, not the parents, not the faculty, staff, and administration. Things in contests need to be settled by 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, because actually they're the ones that are eligible to play under the contest lights.
No doubt. He's exactly right.
Well, other than that, anything you want to say to the faculty, staff, and administration here at Oakland High School, John Marshall and all the fine bunch, as well as Dr. Jimmy Sullivan, and all your support you get here at Oakland?
Yeah, like I said, not too far of a road trip. All our road trips are pretty close now, so it's an away game, but we do expect a lot of Oakland fans there.
Friday night, right over there at Stars Field. That game is at 7 o'clock. Oakland, you'll want to head out early, and I'm sure there'll be a tailgate and whatnot. Coach Larry Creasy, they put on a great show over at Siegel High School, so y'all be there.